Can you all hear me loud and clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Okay, good, good. So we are not learning any new concept today. Like I said in my last class, in our last class, actually, we began our discussion on uh, um, popular culture and then postmodernist approach. We'll continue with that for our class on Monday, inshallah. And then we will, soon after that, we will talk about feminism approach and media and culture society. And after that, our last topic will be left. We will spend at least a week on issues related to feminism. And after that, our last topic will be culture resistance and struggle, that we will do in last 2 weeks. I want to spare a week for revision as well. All right. Let's begin. Is my voice breaking? Isn't my voice clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, give me a minute. Let me turn my fan a little slower. Maybe that's the reason my voice isn't clear. Give me a minute, please, okay? Gee, is it better? I turned my fan slow. It was very noisy. Maybe that was the reason you were not hearing me uh, clearly. Is my voice better?
मैम आपकी वीडियो स्टक हो रही है बार बार.
Okay, let me turn off my video. Maybe it's because my internet is doing problem. And for that reason, I had trouble connecting to my Zoom account today. I am so sorry for the bad connectivity, but I am also recording this lecture. Is it better? I turned off my camera. Is it better now? Please let me know.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. All right. Let's discuss what you are all right, let's discuss what we are going to, what you are doing for your midterm. Students, for your midterm, of course, you know that you are doing a recorded presentation, which is going to be of 25 marks, and its weightage for your overall evaluation is also 25%. With that, let me tell you the most important information for your midterm exam. The most important information is that I am going to be very, very selective, which means that I am not giving you the whole syllabus or all of the contents like I did for your first exam. For your midterm exam, I would like you to focus only on the issue of representation, right? We discussed representations in detail at length. Today again, I will send you a link shortly, and I will ask you to see a video by Stuart Hall where he is discussing representations. Now, it depends. I can also send the link of the video. I can upload the link of the video on Moodle account as well. Now, listen to me very carefully what I want you to do for your recorded presentation. I will give you the question on Friday. On Friday morning, you will receive an email. Although we don't have class, I will be online, like I will be in the Zoom meeting room for your class timing for 10-15 minutes, so that after you read the question, if you want to ask anything, if you have any concern, you can ask me. That will be for that. Today's session is essentially to guide you, to inform you that you should prepare your preparation from today for the question that you're going to get on Friday, and to let you know that what exactly I want you to do. First of all, like I said, for your midterm presentation, I want you to focus only on representation. I am excluding the rest of the syllabus. All right. Now, for your presentation, which was of 10 marks, and you already did it, most of you presented on the topic of media control and conglomeration. Now, and that was a presentation which was related to application of knowledge. And you were doing it from your experiences. You were actually presenting that material from your observation. However, this recorded presentation is different from that one. And how is that different? For that presentation that you did for media control and conglomeration, you were actually talking from observation, from your experiences. However, for your recorded presentation, I would like you to talk from research perspective, which means I want you to present on the basis of your research. Whatever content you present in your presentation, it should be research-based content. Okay? Which means that, and again, when you receive my question, you will see it will be related to the same idea of finding examples related to misrepresentation or underrepresentation or stereotypes. I have already given examples. I, by the way, uploaded examples, the newspaper examples that I showed you in my last class. Remember, I showed you the examples of misrepresentation and underrepresentation. Stereotypes basically. I showed you two Dawn articles. One of them was written by Afia Shehbanu Zia, who is a famous feminist scholar, and the other article was written by Faryal Gohar. Both of them were published by Dawn, and both actually talk about stereotypes in Pakistani media. So I would like you to come up with examples. You can find examples from Pakistani media, like scholarly examples. The examples of Dawn, although they were published in a newspaper, they were written by scholarly figures. You can find examples in a journal article, a research article. You can find examples in a newspaper. You can find examples. The other day, Fatima, your class fellow Fatima Atiq wrote me an email, and she was talking about the example of representation of Malala Yousafzai. And I think maybe that would be a good area to focus on. So you can find many examples on media related to representation of Malala Yousafzai, because the representation of Malala Yousafzai deals with the representation of Pakistan, especially deals with the issues of women in Pakistan, female education, female emancipation, and all that. So now what I want you to do is to come up with a research-based evidence that explains the issues of stereotypes in Pakistani media or about Pakistani issues. Okay? So begin your research from now. It can be a scholarly article in a journal. It can be a newspaper artifact, the example that I showed you in my last class. It can be a small video clip, not more than 30 seconds long, from a TV drama or from an advertisement, or it can be a picture. Okay, find an example and then relate it with the idea of representation. And when you relate, when I'm asking you to relate, here I would like you to relate it with the notes, with the reading in the notes. So after you have found the example, relate it with the scholarly writing in the notes. Remember, I shared a PDF file, a 76 pages long PDF file with you, which is an essay of Stuart Hall. Its title is The Work of Representation. So you find an example and then you say, Stuart Hall talks about this idea in his essay on this page. And the example, the artifact that I am showing, the quotation of Stuart Hall exactly corresponds to the artifact that I am showing here. Does this make sense? Now, questions, please. Taha, बेटा समझ में आई है कि आपने क्या करना है? ताहा हमीद, Taha, are you with me? Can you all hear me, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Sorry, मुझे आवाज काफी लेट आ रही है तो
अच्छा चलें, कोई बात नहीं. Let's ask Nimra. Nimra, बच्चे समझ आई है आपने क्या करना है? Can you rephrase it?
यस मैम, आपने कहा है कि हमने इश्यू ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन जो मीडिया में है उस पर फोकस करना है, और जिस लास्ट टाइम जो हमने प्रेजेंटेशन दी है उसमें हमने अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस पे की बेसिस पे हमने आपको प्रेजेंट किया था, लेकिन इस बार हमें स्कॉलरी आर्टिकल्स जो है और न्यूज़पेपर के आर्टिफैक्ट्स जो हैं उस या उनके साथ हमें वी हैव टू सपोर्ट आवर स्टैंड्स.
शाबाश. अच्छा, अब आपने यहाँ पे अब आप सीख क्या रहे हैं? Now, very good, Nimra. Good job. Thank you so much. What you are learning here is that you are being a keen observer about Pakistani media, and you are presenting an artifact which is based on your research, because you will definitely explore newspapers, you will explore scholarly journals, you will explore media content on broadcast media. So after you are finding relevant example, you are relating it with the content, with the scholarly content by Stuart Hall. So it's up to you. You can read a few pages, or if you want to read the whole essay by Stuart Hall, I mean, whatever content of that essay makes sense, find an example and relate it to the content. So you are doing two things essentially for your recorded presentation. Number one, you are doing research. This is a research-based assignment. The first presentation that you did, it wasn't research-based. It was essentially based on your observation, on your experience. However, for this particular assignment, I want you to sit down and do your solid research. So I especially like the presentation which was given by Aksa Zafar. Is she here today? Is Aksa with us today? Aksa Zafar.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I am here, but I'm using my sister's phone as my phone is not working.
Oh, that's okay. With what name are you attending class, Aksa bete?
Ma'am, Nimra Zafar Tarar. Like, we are both using same phone right now.
Okay, so no problem. I hope you can fix the device problem for next class, bete. Acha, Aksa's,
Sure, ma'am.
I especially liked Aksa's example. She talked about Hum TV network and what different sort of channels they own, what sort of content they produce, and how that leads toward how that undermines the idea of diversity. So you see, I want you to be creative. I want you to be curious about the media content, and I want you to do research. So to repeat, the presentation that you did earlier was actually related to your experiences. However, the presentation that you will do now is related to your research. For this very reason, I would like you to begin now. I would like you to begin from today. You are supposed to do two things essentially. First, do your research and find a tangible example, a really solid and tangible example which is related to the issue of representation in Pakistan. You can focus upon three things: misrepresentation, underrepresentation, or stereotype. Okay? After you have done that, now prepare that artifact for presentation in your recorded presentation, and then decide how you are going to relate it with content given by Stuart Hall. In other words, for the second part, I am asking you to discuss the idea of representation in a scholarly way. You are learning to do a philosophical debate here. You are learning how you can, I mean, of course you all are students, you are studying a 400 level course on media culture and society. It's not like you just present, well, yeah, see, here is the example of misrepresentation, here is the example of stereotype. Learn to talk about that in a scholarly way. Learn to talk about that in a persuasive and convincing way. Make us realize that what you are saying has the value and what you are saying is really, really important for us. And the only way to do is when you can actually do, when you can actually do a philosophical knitting of that content. Now, questions, please. Does this all make sense?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Sure.
Ma'am, firstly, I want to ask that can we solely rely on research articles by other people based on the topic and just the newspaper articles?
No, that's why I use the word or when in my sentence. I was saying it's the choice is yours. Just be creative. You can choose scholarly article, you can choose newspaper article, you can choose a broadcast clip which shouldn't be 30 to 40 seconds long, because if you choose a really, really long clip, then it will lessen time for your own presentation. When you receive the question along with the rubric on Friday, I will tell you that your presentation has to be, let's say, 120 minutes long or 180, not minutes, sorry, seconds. So 3 minutes long or 4 minutes long. And I would highly recommend not to go beyond the time limit. And for that, of course, you need to actually prepare your script too, because that is something that you need to focus on, and that you need to rehearse. If you go beyond the time limit, that may lead to deduction of marks. Does this answer your question, Taha?
Yes, ma'am. So let's suppose that on Friday, when you send us the email, you say that we have to give our presentation in 3 minutes. So don't you think that it's going to be a less elaborated part of our presentation? Because 3 minutes is going to be just a bit of an overview and touching exactly what we want to say rather than being descriptive and how you actually want us to present. Or our script itself will be sent along with it to just signify what we want to say and what our entire presentation is trying to say over here in our for the midterm.
I am not sure if I understand your question.
Ma'am, I am trying to say that let's suppose that you say that we have to give a presentation in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So don't you think 3 minutes is going to be less time to give an elaborate presentation along with our examples and the concept that we have to give out?
Okay, so first of all, I only gave you an example that I may give. I haven't written the question yet myself. When I write it and when I give it to you, I'll make sure that I'm giving you ample time to talk about the question. And you know that from my other classes experiences that I always do it. Even if I'm giving an exam to my students, I make sure that I'm giving my students ample time so that they can actually write about their answers. And the submission deadline is next Tuesday. You will get your question on Friday via email in the morning. And again, I will be in the Zoom meeting room at 11 to take your questions. And the submission, you will have 4 days for submission, which gives you enough time to prepare your script, to record, to do research, and to submit.
Okay, ma'am.
Fatima has a question, and then Nimra. Ji, Fatima?
Yes, ma'am. I want to ask that do we have to give only one example or more than one? And do our examples have to be limited to Pakistan only?
But just one example, because you have time limitation. And yes, the example has to be related to Pakistan. Now, you can give examples from Pakistani media. You can also give examples from international media. But in the latter case, like if you give example from international media, the example should be related to representation of Pakistan. For example, representation of Pakistan for war on terrorism, representation of Pakistan for issues related to women, representation of Pakistan in the context of Malala Yousafzai, anything. So even if you choose international media, the example should be related to the representation of Pakistan. Does this answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Ji, Nimra first and then Usama Nadeem. Ji, Nimra.
Yes, ma'am, I had a similar question, but I have found a scholarly article that supports the misrepresentation issue that I'm going to address in my midterm presentation. But there is a YouTube channel जिनकी almost हर वीडियो में वो issue होता है, तो I just wanted to I wanted to compile the clips उनको लेके वहाँ as in 2 seconds के वो overall 15 seconds के बन जाएंगे. Can I use that? I mean, I'm going to use the scholarly article for sure, but can I use the YouTube clip as well?
If you decide to include the YouTube video, make sure that the clip that you choose is no longer than 30 to 40 seconds, because it will lessen time for your own presentation. And what was your other question? I have forgotten.
That was it, ma'am.
You were also asking about scholarly article. Scholarly article is an option. That is optional. I already shared examples of newspaper articles. I also uploaded those examples on Moodle. If you go to your Moodle account and you hit the folder of representations, you can find 2 articles, 2 Dawn newspaper articles there. In those articles, one of them was written by Afia Shehrbano Zia and the other one was written by Faryal Gohar. Both writers are discussing the issue of stereotypes in Pakistani dramas. See, that is an example. So for this presentation, it's not only this that you only have to find example. You also have to relate it with the idea of representation in a scholarly way. Okay? And when you come for your class on I also recommend that you attend your class on May 28 when you will get your question. If you want, I can present a sample example. Like I will present myself. For example, I will tell you that if I were you, if I were a student, how would I present an example related to this question? That will also give you a direction. Will that be helpful? Are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
So I will also.
Yes, ma'am.
I will present myself on Friday, and of course I will record it too, so that would be helpful for you. All right.
Sure, ma'am.
Ji Usama, Usama Nadeem, ji bache.
Ma'am, can we give an example of a specific minority group of their representation within the Pakistani media?
For underrepresentation? For underrepresentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
For stereotyping or for
yes.
misrepresentation.
Yes, you can, Usama. Acha, bache, please do not take the examples that I have already discussed. Do not select, for example, I have already uploaded 2 newspaper articles. Do not select them. And I will again give a presentation. I myself will give presentation, a 3 to 4 minutes long presentation on Friday, which will be a sample presentation for you, which will be helpful for you, that how you present an artifact and then how you relate it, scholarly relate it with the philosophical thoughts of Stuart Hall. Acha, now give me a favor, and I just wrote this Media Education Foundation. If you open up this MEF, if you open up this on your Google on your Google browser, this is a wonderful forum but this is international, of course, American. They have made many documentaries on the idea of representation, and I think their documentaries are excellent examples of their documentaries are excellent examples of scholarly, scholarly video productions and scholarly documentaries. Osama, do you have a question, bete?
No, ma'am, that's what I just asked the question. That's all.
Students, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I am going to share my screen with you. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The website is mediaed.org. Let me write it in the chat box. Ji, www.mediaed.org. Acha. Documentary films challenging media. This is a wonderful source. This is especially for Taha. Taha Hamid, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Taha has the experience of working with media industry. He worked with with an advertising agency, and I assume that he has also inclination towards the audio and video content of media. This website, I love this website. This website is a wonderful combination of theoretical and practical sides of mass media. Those of us who say, well, I am only theory person, I like to do only theory in media, or those of us who say that, well, I absolutely do not like theoretical side of media theories, I only like the practical domain of mass media, which is professional track, like videos, audios, documentaries, production and all that. This website actually presents a wonderful combination of both aspects of media, and when they both are joined, this is the brilliant stuff that you can produce. Now let me tell you that I was going to write something that I forgot. The founder of this website is Sut Jhale. I just wrote his name on the chat box. And Sut Jhale is a professor of communication who teaches at University of Massachusetts, UMass Boston. And he's a wonderful scholar, wonderful media studies scholar. Of course, he is a scholar who did the interview of who interviewed Edward Said for his book Orientalism, and produced a wonderful documentary on Orientalism, which is available on YouTube as well. So Media Education Foundation is run by that person. You see, they have these different sort of tabs. They produce videos on gender and culture, race and representation, media studies and communication, health in a consumer culture, class and society, commercialism and corporate power, politics and current events, media and the Middle East, natural resources and the environment, seminal thinkers. And this is how you can get digital access to their content. Films, this is the whole catalogs of their films. And for filmmakers, if you want to make a film, let's say on issues of representation or any issue related to Pakistani issues, and you want you want Media Education Foundation to publish it, just like people write books and publish books, our field is different. We are media people. What we produce is also publishable, although it is published in the form of a documentary. You write it, Media Education Foundation will publish it in the form of a documentary, and they will have the copyrights, and they will sign the contract for you with you, and they and then they have the rights. Whoever wants to buy, they will sell it. See, they have this. Did you see this video? Stuart Hall, Through the Prism of an Intellectual Life. somebody made this video, and well, if you want to have an access, of course you will have to purchase. See, they have all these categories: race and representation, gender and culture. Just pay attention to the titles and the titles and the graphics. Killing Us Softly for Advertising's Image of Women, The Great White Hawks, White Like Me, Race and Representation, Gender and Culture, Masculinity and Identity, Masculinity. I mean, just like we discuss issues related to feminism, there are also issues related to masculinity, and they have produced content related to that. Health in a Consuming Culture, Consuming Kids, Race and Representation again, Gender and Culture, Critical Media Studies. I just wanted to show you this wonderful forum that they actually present a very nice, wonderful amalgamation, a wonderful combination of practical and theoretical side of mass media. I'm stopping the sharing of this screen. This is a wonderful forum. This you can actually get inspiration from this forum. Unfortunately, you cannot have access to the videos that they have because they will ask you to buy them. However, I am struggling nowadays that the Department of Mass Communication actually gets a subscription of this forum, but it's not possible in the days of pandemic because pandemic has already curtailed our financial resources, but hopefully that will happen soon after the pandemic is over. Now I'll let you ask questions if you have any. Yes, Mohsin? Mohsin Iqbal, do you have a question? Adil, do you have any question?
Ma'am, what should be the actual length of our presentation?
I will let you know on Friday. When you get the question, it will have the time limit, it will have the rubric, each and everything.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other question?
मैम मैंने पूछना था कि ये जरूरी है कि हम आर्टिकल से ही देखें, मतलब अगर हम डिफरेंट चैनल्स को ऊपर रिसर्च कर लें तो वो भी काउंट करेगा हमारी रिसर्च में, या एक आर्टिकल का होना तो?
Bacha, I have already talked about this. I said if you select content from broadcast media, make sure that clip is no longer than 30 to 40 seconds. And the reason is you do not want that clip to lessen time for your presentation. If you are adding a clip which is 2 minutes long, which means you will be speaking only for a minute. Let's say if you have 3 minutes time limit, and in 3 minutes time limit, you have added a 2 minutes long clip, and which means you will be speaking for just 1 minute, which is too brief, and that will lead to deduction of marks.
नहीं मैम, मतलब मेरा ये है कि वो क्लिप अगर हम लोग मतलब उसका एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट दिखा के हम उसको एक्सप्लेन कर दें अपने ही वर्ड्स में, प्रेजेंटेशन में सिर्फ उसका एक जनरल पॉइंट देना.
Yes, of course you can do that. Essentially you are doing two things: presenting a relevant tangible artifact, and secondly relate it with the philosophical debate of Stuart Hall. ठीक है उस्मान, Usama?
Yes ma'am, thank you.
All right. If you do not have any other question, I'm going to end the session. I highly recommend that you join my next session because I myself will present to give you an example in next class. All right. Thank you and goodbye.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, ma'am.